Hello, my members and people of the podcast. Welcome back to Joan of Arc. We'll have a look at what the English answered. She was ready, but must sit down and wait until there was an army to work with. Next morning, Saturday, the April 30th, 1429, she set about inquiring after the messenger who carried a proclamation to the English from Lewes, the one which she had dictated at Poitiers. Here is a copy of it. It is a remarkable document for several reasons: for its matter-of-fact directness, for its high spirit and forcible diction, and for its naive confidence in her ability to achieve the prodigious task which she had laid upon herself, or which had been laid upon her, which you please. All through it you seem to see the pomps of war and hear the rumbling of drums. In it Joan's warrior soul is revealed, and for the moment the soft little shepherdess has disappeared from your view. This untaught country damsel, unused to dictating anything at all to anybody, much less documents of state to kings and generals, poured out this procession of vigorous sentences as fluently as if this sort of work had been her and made her from childhood. Jesus Maria, King of England, and you, Duke of Bedford, who call yourself Regent of France, William de la Pole, Earl of Suffolk, and you, Thomas Lord Scales, who style yourselves lieutenants of the said Bedford, do right to the King of Heaven, render to the maid who is sent by God the keys of all the good towns you have taken and violated in France. She is sent hither by God to restore the blood royal. She is very ready to make peace, if you will do her right by giving up France and paying for what you have held. And you, archers, companions of war, noble and otherwise, who are before the good city of Orleans, be gone into your own land in God's name, or expect news from the maid who will shortly go to see you, to your very great hurt. King of England, if you do not so, I am chief of war, and whenever I shall find your people in France, I will drive them out, willing or not willing, and if they do not obey, I will slay them all. But if they obey, I will have them to mercy. I have come hither by God, the King of Heaven, body for body, to put you out of France, in spite of those who would work treason and mischief against the kingdom. Think not you shall ever hold the kingdom from the King of Heaven, the Son of the Blessed Mary. King Charles shall hold it, for God wills it so, and has revealed it to him by the maid. If you believe not the news sent by God through the maid, wherever we shall meet you will strike boldly, and make such a noise as has not been in France for these thousands of years. Be sure that God can send more strength to the maid than you can bring to any assault against her and her good men-at-arms, and then we shall see who has the better right, the King of Heaven or you, Duke of Bedford. The maid prays you do not to bring about your own destruction. If you do aright, you may yet go on in her company, where the French shall do the finest deed that has been done in Christendom. And if you do not, you shall be reminded shortly of your great wrongs. In that closing sentence, she invites them to go on crusade with her in the rescue of the Holy Sepulchre. No answer has been returned to this proclamation, and the messenger himself had not even come back. So now she sent her 2 heralds with a new letter, warning English to raise their siege and requiring them to restore the missing messenger. The heralds came back without him. All they brought was a notice from English to Joan that they would presently catch her and burn her if she did not clear out now while she had a chance and go back to a proper trade of minding cows. She held her peace, only saying it was a pity that the English would persist in inviting present disaster and eventual destruction. when she was doing all she could to get them out of the country, with the life still in the bodies. Presently, she thought of an arrangement that might be acceptable, and said to the heralds, "Go back and say to Lord Talbot this, from me. Come out of your bastilles with your host, and I will come with mine. If I beat you, go in peace, out of France. If you beat me, burn me according to your desire." I did not hear this, but Dunois did, and spoke of it. The challenge was refused. Sunday morning, her voices or some instinct gave her a warning, and she sent Dunois to Bleu to take command of the army and hurry to Orleans. It was a wise move, for he found Reginald de Chartres and some more of the king's pet rascals there, trying their best to disperse the army and crippling all the efforts of Joan's generals to head it for Orleans. They were a fine lot, these miscreants. They turned their attention to Dunois now. But he had balked Joan once, with unpleasant results to himself, and was not minded to meddle in that way again. He soon had the army up, and definitely moving. So there you go, guys. Those are the letters that she sent to the English, her very words she put in the letters. And the English, it seems they are afraid, for they won't even fight a little maid on a horse. They declined the offer. Yeah, not so tough, are you now, English? I am English, by the way, but back then we were monsters, I have to say. We weren't even humans. Not at all. So, thank you for listening to this very important part of Joan of Arc, because, like I say, those are her very words, that those were the letters sent to the English with no reply, until the very last, of course. Many blessings.